Deep in the forests of Alabama, concealed by years of overgrowth and neglect, stands an old wooden cabin once owned by country music legend Hank Williams. Locked and abandoned for decades, it carried whispers of curses and ghosts, a place locals believed held the echoes of Hank's troubled past. For over 50 years, no one entered, leaving it preserved in a kind of time-worn suspension. Recently, a team of historians and family representatives gained access, unlocking not only a physical door but the intimate, haunting world of a man whose music and fame masked a life of profound pain and longing. Entering a time capsule. When the cabin door finally creaked open, the air that escaped felt dense with decades of silence. Dust swirled in shafts of sunlight, illuminating the emptiness as if the house itself were holding its breath. Wooden floorboards groaned beneath cautious steps, and the team understood that this was not just a building they were entering. It was the preserved sanctuary of a broken soul. Every object, every shadow seemed frozen from the moment Hank last walked away. The cabin, untouched for half a century, offered an unfiltered glimpse into a man both idolized and tormented, whose private life had been as complex as the songs he wrote. Echoes of loss. Near the stone fireplace, a rocking chair swayed slightly as though someone had just vacated it. Beside it rested a half-empty bottle of Old No. 7 whiskey, its label faded but still recognizable. On the table lay an open Bible, bookmarked at Psalms 102. "Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto thee." The pages bore darkened stains, as if tears had soaked through. In the corner, Hank's guitar leaned silently against the wall. When strummed gently, it emitted a trembling note, lonely and mournful, a sound that seemed to carry the weight of songs never recorded, private melodies trapped in the quiet of this room for over 70 years. Words left behind. On the writing desk, a stack of yellowed papers revealed Hank's unmistakable handwriting. Lyrics, unfinished letters, and thoughts poured onto the fragile sheets. One letter addressed to his son, Hank Williams Jr., dated only weeks before his death in 1953, spoke candidly of the burdens of fame. Hank described the betrayal of friends, the emptiness behind applause, and the growing despair that no song or stage could alleviate. "I built my life on music," he admitted, "but somewhere along the way I lost myself in it." Each word offered a rare glimpse into the man behind the legend, a soul painfully aware of his own fragility. Love and fractured memories. Pinned above the desk was a photograph of Audrey Williams, Hank's first wife. Her image was half torn, then patched back together with tape, reflecting a life of love and conflict. The contradictions in that photo mirrored Hank's complicated heart, torn between passion and resentment, devotion and disappointment. Hidden in a trapdoor were more treasures, notebooks, a pocket watch stopped at 5:30, and a reel-to-reel tape labeled December Sessions. These artifacts, long forgotten, promised to reveal moments of creation and confession, unfiltered by fame or public expectation. They formed a tangible timeline of a man grappling with his own mortality and relentless inner turmoil. The secret compartment. While inspecting the cabin, the restoration team noticed a hollow section of wall. Carefully removed, it revealed a hidden compartment containing a small wooden chest, untouched for more than 70 years. The smell of aged paper and tobacco greeted them as they opened it. Inside were personal journals, photographs, and a letter marked, "Do not open until I'm gone." The handwriting trembled with emotion, yet remained unmistakably Hank's. The journals revealed his acceptance of life's end, the darkness that haunted him, and sleepless nights clouded by pain and addiction. Each page offered a raw, human perspective on a man often mythologized but seldom truly understood. Journals of a Troubled Soul. One journal, dated late 1952, recounted Hank's physical suffering and emotional struggles. back pain, reliance on painkillers, and nights spent battling insomnia painted a portrait of a man weighed down by more than fame. Yet amid the darkness, there were glimpses of hope. He wrote about redemption and the desire to create something meaningful. If the Lord lets me sing one more good song, I'll make it one that saves me. The journals revealed the internal conflict between despair and the desire for grace, exposing the tender vulnerability of a man whose public persona often masked the private storms he endured. Letters of love and guilt. The letters inside the chest were intensely personal. One addressed to his mother, Lily, expressed gratitude for her love despite his flaws. Another to an unnamed woman revealed guilt and regret. You saw the man, not the myth. That's what scared me the most. These letters highlighted Hank's deep self-awareness and capacity for remorse, offering intimate insight into relationships strained by fame, addiction, and personal demons. The photographs accompanying the letters showed quiet moments. Hank by a lake with his guitar, smiling with a young boy, possibly his son, capturing fleeting fragments of peace amid a life otherwise dominated by turmoil and creative pressure. The mystery of the shadow. Among the photographs, one stood out. Hank, with a man resembling him older, captioned, "Me and My Shadow, 1948. Historians debated its meaning. Was it a symbolic representation of Hank's inner demons or a literal figure tied to superstition and omen? The image seemed to echo the shadow that followed him throughout life. Fame, addiction, personal loss, and the looming sense of mortality. It underscored the complex interplay of myth and reality in Hank's life, reminding viewers that behind every celebrated song was a human grappling with fear, doubt, and longing, often in isolation from the public eye. A voice that lives on. At the private memorial, musicians gathered with acoustic guitars playing unfinished songs from the trunk and unreleased hymns. As the last notes faded, the wind stirred the trees outside, echoing faintly like a distant voice. Some listeners swore they heard Hank hum along. In this moment, the cabin fulfilled its role as a vessel of memory, preservation, and reconciliation. Hank Williams, the troubled genius, the heartbroken troubadour, was not just remembered, he was felt. His life, pain, and hope resonated beyond fame, leaving a lasting imprint that transcended time, a testament to a man who sought redemption through song until the very end. The silence that speaks. Decades later, as the sun sets behind the Alabama woods, the silence in Hank Williams' cabin remains profound. It is a space filled with echoes of laughter, sorrow, prayer, and music. The cabin tells a story no biography could fully capture. A story of a man who lived intensely, loved imperfectly, and sang with unfiltered honesty. He may have left the world physically, but through his letters, songs, and the preserved cabin, Hank Williams continues to speak. Here, among the dust, the wood, and the music, he finally went home, leaving a silence more powerful than applause.